Hey, hi, hello, friend. We continue our conversation with Kylian and Toirneach. We explored more about how the kink scene is about consent and trust building, how it encompasses the escapism of it all, and how, as demisexuals, we all have the opportunity to learn about how we approach the kink community. So, without further ado, here's part 2. Welcome to Season 7 of the Queer Consciousness Podcast. I'm Kit Sargent, and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Jess Grace Garcia, and my pronouns are they, them. We're just humans wanting to share the lived experience of other humans.
This season, we're talking about all things sex. We want to have deep, heart-led conversations as we unpack what sex means to us and why it's so important to talk about it.
This is a season of unlearning, relearning, and sharing about a topic that is still considered taboo.
Because at the end of the day, we are all spiritual, sexual beings having a human experience, walking each other home. Let's go.
You said family. It made me think of that one episode where you talk about like community versus just a kink.
That's
like,
every episode. You're going to be more
true.
specific.
I just really like how you went off on the fact that like this is community. Like this, what we build is community.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think, heteronormative spaces, don't always get right. And like, even like poly like spaces, sometimes if they're leaning more hetero, they tend to miss it. And I think it's the colonization of the European colonization of like losing some of our ties and having to reframe and learn how to do community again. And some of us didn't lose that. Like, it's weird because like, this is where church comes in. Somehow that is one of the beautiful things I held on to from church was the way in which my parents built community in church. And that was what I was like, oh, I don't want to let go of that. Like, that's something that was beautiful and that's something that I'm good at and I want to bring to the table, And like, I've recently been, I've gone through some interesting things in the last couple of years. And often people are like, well, how did you get those people to do that? And I'm like, I didn't get them to do anything. Like, I just here building community the way I've always built community, and people see themselves as family and I see them as family. And so they take care of me, and we take care of each other. We protect each other. And that's just, I'm not a fan of like the idea of like that I would have to tell anyone what to do and like, go against their autonomy, so I don't know, community is it's important that is explained, that's a big part of what like kink space, BDSM spaces, pony space is all about. It's not just a culture.
Right. And the moment that pony play becomes just a culture or a part of that, I'm out. Like I keep talking about how I don't want to see pony play become the next pup play, where it's used as a way to chase clout or as a way to garner favor amongst cliques or a way to just get their follower count up. It's so much more than that. And the moment that that's what the primary purpose of it is, then I'm just all my socials gone, just done, because I don't want to participate in that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's kind of why, like, for the longest time, like, I didn't know community existed in gay spaces. Like, when I was in Baltimore, my first experience of Pride was more of a culture experience, and it was a mess. And I had a very specific, unfortunate idea about that space and thought, this isn't for me. This isn't where I'll find community. I'll find community in music. I'll find community, in the art space, but I'm not going to find community here. And then the second time that I attended something, I saw the community, like the spice of what community could be in that space. And it was because of drag drag shows and drag space, and I was like, oh wait, is this? I'm seeing what looks like community to me. And then moving here to Southern California, I found community in queer spiritual spaces. But yeah, it took a while for me as an out queer person to finally find what I have always wanted and needed. Because I thought, oh no, that's not what they're doing, because what I was exposed to was the side of gay culture that was sad and had lost that and was focused on, a lot of alcohol consumption, a lot of like drug consumption, and just letting go to the point that it's super unhealthy and losing yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's interesting for me is that like I found my queer family in Southern California, but I found my kink family here in DC.
That is interesting. Yeah.
And I think that comes down to the fact that because I grew up in this area, when I was coming back, because I moved back here 3 years ago now, I was expecting to reconnect with the friends I had here, and half of them had moved away by the time I had come back. They either moved further away from the city or fucking moved to Europe. Curse you, Caleb. I'm moving to Vienna. Oh my God, that's like 10 minutes from me. Austria. Fuck.
That's funny.
Literally the week I moved here, I'm just like, you son of a bitch. It's fine. I've seen him more in the last 3 years than I have in like 8. It's fine. He's still here all the time. And when I go to Europe, I fly through Austria a lot. So we catch up. It's fine. But yeah, it's weird. So like, I'm excited to move back to California because my queer family is there. And like, that's what I feel like I've really been missing since I've been here in DC. But I'm also terrified because my kink family is here. And there's a pony herd in LA. The problem is it's run by the person who runs the competition. And I don't really want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And I've talked to some people in that herd, and they don't like the way that things are going right now. So this may be another, great, I have to start another community. Crap, but it's just
it's a burden that those of us that are actually gifted in it sometimes bear.
This is what we do.
Yeah. I mean, like, I like to say to people, especially when they're community builders in like, because like many of you all know that I've come from, a lot of spiritual spaces, and one of the things that I see happen a lot is people who dive in so hard and they don't give themselves the space to kind of like discover who they are independently, because they're like, oh, I'm a community builder, that's what I'll do. And it's like, no, find community that cares for you first. Then if you want to build later, that's fine, but you got to give yourself a second, to really be in it, to know how to care for people. And because in the end, it crashes and burns almost always when someone hasn't given themselves the space to figure out who they are. And one thing that I've been enjoying about this question and talking about what does sex mean to you is like, and Kit alluded to this with our last guest, Dr. Jolie Hamilton. It was just the idea that like, I thought originally the question was going to be, what does queer sex mean to you? And like, that's not the question, because that will come out in the conversation as a queer person. Right. Because we don't need to define it as queer sex. It's just the sex we have, Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but I like that all of these aspects of like who you are as, and who I am and who Kit is as a queer person, like is going to continue to be like kind of coming to the surface as we have these conversations, and like Kit and I did, as the listeners know, but Kit and I did separate episodes of what does sex mean to me now? What does sex mean to them now? And then I think we're going to revisit it at the end of the season, because after having all of these conversations, every single time I'm like, yep, this has shifted how I feel about sex in a really cool way, So it's like it's adding dimension.
So to bring it back to the original question then. Yeah. So like, yeah, sex. Sex is, for me, sex is connection. Sex is intimate connection with another person. And I'm at that point where I can differentiate emotional sex, right? From just quote in quotes, air quotes, from kink play. There's a difference for me between that connective strings attached sex and being part of a scene, being part of a kink scene.
Yeah.
But either way, for me, in both cases, there needs to be a deep level of trust with the person I'm with in order for anything to happen.
That makes complete sense to me. I think it's one of the safest ways to engage, and probably one of the most fulfilling ways.
Oh,
To
absolutely.
engage.
Like I'm also at the point where in my life, I care more about not sexual intercourse, but like time well spent with someone I care about. So like for me, I care more about those intimate moments on the couch when we're cuddling, watching a movie. And I end up falling asleep halfway through Fifth Element because it's the day after a convention and I'm literally laying on top of you and, feeling your breath going up and down. For me, that is a more connective and emotionally fulfilling thing than intercourse. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that connection. Did this happen last week? Yes, it did. Anyway, how did I fall asleep during the Fifth Element? I missed the whole last half hour of it. I know. I'm so upset. I need to go back and finish it again.
I'm glad that you had that moment.
He couldn't reach the remote. So I wake up and we're 15 minutes into Men in Black. And I'm like, what the hell happened? And he's just like, I couldn't reach the remote. And you were sleeping.
Sweet.
It's like, you're adorable. Don't leave. Don't ever leave, please.
Yeah, that's sweet. I love that because I just know, as your friend and knowing some of your relational history, it means so much to me when you get moments like that.
Oh God, yeah.
It really does. I agree. I think that as someone who is definitely, everything is a spectrum, but someone who is more, definitely more demi than not. That is very true for me too. Like one of the questions that our officiant asked when we were kind of building our, our wedding language, was about what are some of the best moments that you've ever had with your partner, and it really froze partners. It really froze my wife Erica for a second because she was worried that she didn't really have as much fun, quote unquote, in these big moments because she was enduring pain in order to get to those big moments, for us. And for her, the best times were the times like you just described, of being on the couch, of snuggling up and having a special moment with the three of us. And they were quick passing, the most everyday normal moments. And I was like, that's what this is all about, though. This is all about those moments of when I'm doing the dishes and I hate doing the dishes, but I'm the one that does them, so I do them. And then, Erica comes up behind me and surprises me because she's been sleeping, and she snuggles in.
Mm-hmm.
And is it a lot of pressure? Is it distracting? Yes, but it's also the best.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel appreciated, and it makes me feel like this is what it was. This is why I do these things, is because of those moments of being appreciated and loved,
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one example of a million examples, because I've gotten to live this awesome life with two beautiful humans,
Yeah.
And that's true for my friendships too. One of my favorite memories with you is us just driving around LA after getting coffee at La Colombe and just talking shit and just kept driving. Like we literally went the longest possible way we could go because we wanted to keep talking.
Yeah.
You know, those are my favorite moments.
And this is how you know I'm serious about this guy. So just we spent the entire weekend together, and he came to that convention that I was working at here in DC. And just like we were at a mall, we were at one of the Smithsonian museums on Monday afterwards, and we walked the half mile up to La Colombe.
Oh
yeah, that's how you know. That's how you know. I'm just like, no, you're important, because that's like my favorite coffee shop in LA. It's the one that's there in Frogtown, the roastery that's like up against the LA River, because it's a little retreat in the city. It's great.
Kid, I wanted to take you there so bad when you were out here, but like we were so busy, but oh man, I wanted to take you.
I'll add it to my list.
Yes. But like, to like circle back on those moments. So at this convention, I mean, I'm not afraid to say, like, I'm a professional musician. That is my job. At this specific convention, I was performing, and so I had rehearsals throughout the week or throughout the weekend. And so it was like Friday morning, and I had to be down in the room to rehearse at 8:30 in the morning, which at a convention, yeah, that is the correct face. Because after a night of drinking, the last thing you want to do is wake up 5 hours later and go to a rehearsal. But like,
well, and as we get older, it gets harder.
It gets so much harder. But I also knew like the amount of coffee consumption I was going to be having that weekend. So I brought my espresso machine with me.
Smart.
Because I'm like, I'm not going to spend $7 on an iced coffee down in the lobby and wait 20 minutes for this watered down piece of crap. And so like, I made it a conscious effort that like, you know, it turned into like, you know, I'd wake up, I'd shower, turn on the espresso machine, get ready, get my coffee ready. And then I would make the guy I made him a latte, like a little latte. I made him a cortado, because who needs that much milk in their life?
I do.
That's a lot of milk. That's so much milk.
I love lattes.
I like cortados. Just give me 2 ounces of espresso and 2 ounces of milk, and I'm good to go.
You like, and good coffee is good coffee. I agree. Like when I was in Ethiopia, and it was like the best coffee I've ever had.
Good coffee is good coffee. Yeah.
Good coffee is good coffee. But we don't. There's not as much good coffee available.
That's fair. And also, he had been in Seattle the weekend before. So he brought beans with him.
There you go.
Yeah, he knew his. Like I had good beans from my local place, but he brought the good beans too.
The good beans.
I'm so frozen. The good beans. I'm so frozen in this.
I know you've been frozen for like 3 minutes.
This is so upsetting. But like it turned into a thing where like I'd wake up or I'd make coffee. He'd get woken up by the grinder because it's so freaking loud. And you can't do anything about it though. But then he knew the coffee was coming. And so like 8:30 in the morning, I'm just like, okay, here's your latte. And he like gets out of bed, gives me the biggest hug, like good morning hug. And he's like, thank you. And I'm like, great. I will see you after rehearsal. I will see you in 3 hours and we'll go get lunch. And he's like, yay. And he like drinks a little coffee, gets back into bed. And then like just those, like even though we were in a hotel room at a convention, those little like real life moments are what I care about. And it's just like, it's a glimpse of what life could be like down the line at some point in the future.
Definitely.
For sure.
Hopefully. But it's just like, you know, those are the kind of moments that stick with you. It's not the big events. I mean, granted, that being said, like he was in my arms while Rebecca Sugar was singing Love Like You. So, I mean, like every queer person's fantasy. And of course, this asshole has never seen Steven Universe. So I'm just sitting there going like, you dense motherfucker.
Jana forced me to watch a decent amount of Steven Universe.
Oh, we got to episode 12 while he was here. And then I have since binged the entire rest of the season or the rest of the series. I
don't know what we're talking about.
Oh, Kit.
Kit.
I don't have a TV.
Oh, that's true. Kit's not a consumer of
that's okay.
media like that.
That's fine. But what we will do is send you the album because the
Okay.
music is just good. It's fine. You'll be fine.
Yes.
Basically, it is
It's
a
a very
series.
queer shows.
Is a
Okay,
series
good.
that has formed the minds of an entire generation of queer kids. Is the best way to put it.
All right.
Mhm.
Making a note.
An animated series, yeah.
An animated series. It is wonderful. But yeah, so like, it's those moments that really stick with you. The like holding hands as we're walking through a very busy convention center, and it's just like, oh, this is not just so we like don't lose each other. This is a like sign of affection.
Yeah, I want to be
That-
connected to you.
Yeah. Like I want, yeah, exactly that. And it's those are the things that matter to me most. I don't give a fuck about intercourse. I really don't. I do not need to get my rocks off. Like, I care about emotional connection, intentional emotional connection.
Yeah, I mean, even those moments during physical sex that like I'm remembering are not the orgasmic moments. They're the moments of connection.
Yeah,
You
you can
know?
go have an orgasm whenever you want. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's those really beautiful moments of like oh, this is something special that we will only ever have together.
hmm
I might
yeah,
have something like and this has been even more true for me as I've continued to be in deep relationship with my wife Erica and my wife Jana, like to see like how they are similar in some ways but they are so different and our connections are so different.
hmm
And I need both of them, and I want both of them, in different ways. And like, it's something that I think is interesting because people will say, well, I remember the biggest hang up for Erica before, we were able to open things up was that sexual element. Well, like, you're not gonna need me anymore was the fear,
Sure.
at the heart of everything. And it was like, I just said, I don't even know how that's possible. Like, because if I'm needing you, that's what I need. Like, I want and need you specifically, not no one could replace that, you know? It's only being built onto. And I think like the way that I've equated that for people has been through, like certain kinds of friendships. Like if you lose a friend, like for example, gosh, I'm gonna get a little dark here for a second.
Oh, God.
I just found out yesterday that a friend died suddenly due to like a virus or some sort of cold. Still getting details. He was just a few years younger than my mom, but he was an incredible man. He was like he's still young. He was like in his 60s. And he felt like the gay elder, like the gay dad that I needed. He was a pastor, and when we would sit and we would talk, I always felt deeply cared for. And I always felt like anytime he reached out, it was like he really, really, really fucking meant it when he said, I've been thinking of you,
Mhm.
And I just always felt cared for and loved by him. And it was a very like multiple random connections with him over the last couple of years. But now that he's gone, I just keep thinking about this one dinner that we had where I felt so held and so cared for. And I just keep thinking I'm never going to have that again.
Hey.
And it isn't like I'm saying I'll never be held by someone again. Like there will be other gay dads, there will be other people who come in and hold me in a similar way, but I'm never going to have that same type of like that exact same type of being held that Gerald did, you know? And that's, I think that's kind of what is so special about human connection, you know? And I just can't wrap my head around, and this is where the demisexuality is. I can't wrap my head around sexual intimacy without the intimacy, without that trust, without that.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. It just doesn't compute. It's like the formula doesn't complete.
And honestly, I think I think part of it is that you're put in such a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
Whether emotionally or like in pony play, you are vulnerable because you have donned all this gear that has literally bound you into a position where you are vulnerable. You can't move normally. You can't move quickly. You are in a lot of cases, you don't have access to your fingers because they are in enclosed hooves. Like,
Yeah,
you are
that's
in
wild
a
to me. I can't. Yeah, that
Hey,
would be
it's
hard
fun.
for me.
Shut up.
I'm sure it is fun. I think I'd struggle getting used to that. Yeah.
So you are at the mercy of the other person, whether it be emotionally or physically. And at that point, it's all about trust.
It's true.
Mic drop.
Hey, friend. Jess and I both love making this podcast, but in order for us to continue bringing you top quality production, we need your help and support. So if you could do two things. One, go check out our Patreon at patreon.com/queerconsciousnesspodcast and see what cool things we're doing over there. And two, please share, rate, and leave a comment on whatever podcatcher you're using. This greatly helps us grow our audience, and we might even read your comment on an episode. Thanks for being here. Now back to the conversation.
Kit, I'm
Yes.
curious, like, because I've spent time thinking about this, obviously, and I'm having like whatever conversation. How does this inform like the way that you think about this stuff? Like, because I don't know what you've even, like, I don't know if you were able to listen to an episode of his podcast, if you've read
God, I hope
anything
it
about
wasn't the
stuff like this.
2-hour-long
I'm just
one.
curious what your thoughts.
I didn't get a chance to, just because I had so much other stuff going on. However,
You were working hard.
I was,
recently.
yeah, this last week.
It's not exactly the kind of podcast you want to listen to while you're.
not.
Although I would tell you it actually is, because the thing about Kylian's podcast is that it's super informative and educational, and that's what I love about it. It doesn't. It feels like you're just constantly learning. But anyway,
I'll add it onto my listening. It'll be fine. I will catch up very quickly.
There are some short episodes and some very long episodes. It is hit or miss.
Great. Runs the gambit. Love it.
Yeah. The short ones are the hard ones to write. Not going to lie.
Usually.
Yeah.
That's fair. But it's not that I am unaware of like pony play and pup play. I've heard of it. And the funny thing is when I went down to visit one of our mutual friends in Chicago, we actually went to the Leather Museum in Chicago, which was brilliant. So great. Opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I was
Just real
able.
quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. My podcast has been accepted as part of the archive now.
oh, that's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
so
Keep going.
awesome.
Keep going. Yeah.
So when we were when we were going through the museum, I was like, wow, never knew that. Oh, never knew that. Like looking at all of the displays and all of the other things, like opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. So it's not that I'm completely unfamiliar. It's one of those things where
Well,
I'm
yeah,
like,
one of your closest people is
Right, yeah.
in leather.
right. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I know of it, but I've never really been able to like dive into it just because I've been focusing on other things. But now I'm like, now I am incredibly curious. This has very much so piqued my curiosity of what don't I know? And what do I think I know, but I legitimately have no knowledge of because I'm just starting to draw lines of things that I think I know when I really don't. That's where my brain's going. Is I'm like, this is incredibly interesting, mainly because like there's 3 demisexuals here. So Jess and I are both demisexual. Kylian, you're also a demisexual. So I understand from the absolute need to have trust in the other person that you are having a connection with. You have to have that emotional connection first and foremost. Like nothing can go beyond that until you have that legitimate, intimate connection where it's like, you have my trust. There's obviously going to be different levels of trust that you get depending on how this connection builds, but you have that initial base of connection and trust where I can give you something of me because I know that you are going to hold it, you are going to respect it, you are going to take care of it, and then I can start expanding that a little bit more so that I can dive a little deeper. I can go into spaces where I'm not fully comfortable, but because I know that you're not going to push me so far outside of my comfort zone where I feel completely unsafe, I can stretch that discomfort just a little bit where it's like I can take a step or 2 outside of my comfort zone because I know that if I start to fall back, you're going to be able to catch me, hold me, and bring me back to my comfort zone in a space where you are going to be able to take care of me because I am both physically and emotionally vulnerable to the point where I can't take care of myself in this moment. And I know that you are going to, and that you can. So from that aspect, I'm like, yeah, totally get that. Totally understand the headspace for it, where it's like, I need to make sure that I can be in a space where I can completely let down my guard. I can completely be vulnerable and say, I don't want to think. Think for me. And they'll be like, yeah, I got this. I got you. Go to this place. Go to this place. And you can kind of sink into that subspace where you're like, I am not being submissive to the point of losing all autonomy. I am being submissive to the point of, I know for a fact that by me giving this trust to you, you are not going to break it. You are not going to disrespect it. I'm giving it to you as a sign of respect to your dominance in this particular instance.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm like, oh, that's a really interesting way to think about that. Because sometimes, especially now, like when you think about it from like the bigger zeitgeist of the world, a lot of times when you hear dom sub, it's somebody who is like very meek. Like if you think of a sub, it's like somebody who is very meek and who's wanting to be told how to do everything. And it's like, oh no, not at all. They understand that what they are doing is they are relinquishing control of the situation. And they are giving the other person their ultimate trust, saying, I know for a fact that you are not going to disrespect me. You are not going to disrespect my autonomy. You are not going to put me in a space where I'm going to be physically and or emotionally harmed. And you are going to allow me to exist in a space where I can just do that, is just exist. I don't have to think. I don't have to try and be in control. I can just be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What I think a lot of people don't realize is the sub actually holds all the power. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I keep thinking about like that moment of play with Kylian and how, as an ace person, Kit, as you're discovering like what does that mean for you on this spectrum of asexuality? Like, this might be a really cool way to continue to learn about your through that lens of asexuality is like, because you do have an in, like your QPP is someone who is really invested in leather culture.
Yeah.
And they know they you already trust them like deeply. And so like, and also it's outside of your town. You can go 2 hours away from your town. You're not going to see anyone that isn't associated with your your queer space as you're starting to figure out, what you might be curious about. I feel like it's a really great, if you were curious to do that, it's such a, you're really set up to like be like, not that I want to do this in a sexual way, but I am curious as a role playing like asexual who might want to let release and be subby. Can we try? And like, we both know that person is going to have all of the questions to make sure that you feel the most safe. And like, just grill you before you even do any of it.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's awesome. I love that this conversation helped ignite more interest in that. It's done it for me too, just in a different way. It's continuing this conversation I feel like I've been having with myself around letting go enough in role play to like just kind of not be embarrassed. There's something about embarrassment that's there.
Some people are into that, but
I'm not. And that
yes, neither am I.
Yeah, so like that's like kind of it's, you know what it is, it comes down to a lot of things that have like been rooted in kind of discovery for me has been like confidence and perfectionism, and like how to get away from perfectionism, and know that it's okay to just try things you don't know you're any good at, and like That for example, I think I brought that up around someone recently, and they said, okay, so what you're telling me is that we need to do, because I used the example of like wine and paint nights.
Mhm.
I'm not a painter, I'm not an artist, and so like I don't do that because it doesn't feel fun to me because I'm not good at it, which is stupid. And I need to get I don't like that. Stupid for me. I want to get past that. I want to be able to paint and be shitty at it and still have fun. You know? And so she was saying like, "Oh, it sounds like this is going to be something that I'm going to try and, host sometime this year, and you'll come." And I said, "Sure, I will come." And so like there's some of that in kind of like all of the space of like sexualness. Like I had an experience with a gay man in Miami that led to him asking me to fuck him, and I thought and Erica would have been fine with it. And this was before Jana, and I was like, I would really like to do that, but I'm also scared because I don't think I have the technique down yet to be good enough to strap and do that in a way that really serves him. And as someone who is a service top, that's a hard thing to like wrap my head around, that I would not be good at it. And the only places I'm willing to experiment are with these, like you said, Kylian, like with my partners who I'm like deeply comfortable
Connected
with.
to. Yeah.
And I know that they are attracted to me for many different reasons, not just because of one 2D reason.
Well, let me put it this way then as well. I think, like, especially when it comes to like kink things, the best, I would always say the best place to experiment and try new things are with someone you trust and in a place that is designed to educate you to do that. So
yes, that sounds right.
What any dungeon worth its salt, I don't want to call it a public dungeon, but like, because most dungeons are membership only, but they're not like dungeons in people's houses type of thing. But I'm a member of 2 different dungeons here in the DC area. One you either you're like brought in as a guest, that someone who is already a member, and so they are your vetting is the wrong word, but they are the ones who are like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
Vouching for you. They're
vouching.
They're
Yes.
vouching for you. And like they are responsible for you while you're a guest there. And so anything that guest does then goes on the member. And that's at the Crucible. That's the big one here. Then there's another one out in West Virginia where you have to be vetted by a member and like go through a process to become a member. And in both cases, especially the Crucible, which is a very large membership, it is so well done that the other way you can become a member is by attending Dungeon 101. So they do a monthly class on like, this is what consent is. This is how all these different things in this space work. This is how we operate. This is how the greater kink world operates. And being able to experience those things and try new things in a place like that, where there are people who are educated to help educate you so that you can participate in these things safely, I think is super important. And then so be able to like go to something like that with your partner, with your trusted playmate, with whatever. I think it's the best situation because, and I have to say this as someone who's a kink, oh God, I guess I'm an educator now.
You are.
All kink is dangerous. And whenever you do kink, you practice RAC, which is being risk-aware consensual kink. You are aware of every kink, everything has a certain level of risk to it. It can be low risk, it can be very high risk, but you are aware of the risk when you participate in it, and you are aware of what needs to be done in order to lower the risk. And most kink-related accidents happen because they are not aware of the risk or how to de-escalate the risk or what to do in the case of an emergency because of a high-risk activity.
That makes so much sense.
That all being said, if you and the general you and a partner want to start experimenting in certain things, the higher the risk, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go somewhere that they can teach you how to do it properly.
And I love the idea of having safely. A once a month 101. Like,
yeah,
that sounds, and like, I feel like you and, my best friend are two of the people that have the most like experience closest to me that I trust, Like, I feel like I'd feel safe walking into,
like, honestly, if like you and Erica or you and Jenna wanted to do something, I would literally be like, hi, I'm gonna be your lifeguard. I'm gonna be in the cuck chair, but really I'm over here with like bandage scissors ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here to be the lifeguard.
Well, and I've said it on the podcast and in other podcasts, like, I know something that we are hoping to do is to find a feminine dom that Erica would enjoy, to kind of let her enter those spaces that as an ace person, as what you were talking about, gray ace person, she can enter into a little bit easier, and I could learn. Jana and I both deeply desire to like just watch and learn. And so I've been mentioning it the last year to really just try and manifest it.
I might know a couple of people actually.
Yeah. So
yeah, like over there, I might know a couple of people.
I think it's a wonderful thing to like. This is why talking about sex openly in a positive way is really important. And like, obviously, you're not trying to thrust sexual conversation upon people that aren't wanting to be in those conversations. But the reason why they do need to exist and be accessible is for the same reasons why these 101 classes need to be accessible. Like, we need to be able to feel like we can talk about some of these maybe even uncomfortable moments where we said like, oh, we tried this thing and it was weird and I don't know why it was weird. And we just decided we'll never do that again. Why? Why did we decide we'll never do it again instead of just going to our friend who we know maybe does this a little more often and say like, why was this weird? And how quickly, that friend could say like, oh, well, did you discuss these things first? Did you do it this way? Like, did you educate yourself in this manner? Like, there's so much that we can learn from each other if we could just talk about it. And I say that a lot about like female body issues. Like recently, like I've been entering more of a perimenopausal season, and like literally that word menopause or perimenopause feels like the grossest word to bring up in any conversation, and people just go, ugh. And yet, if I hadn't brought it up in multiple conversations with women who are older than me, I wouldn't have learned so much stuff that has helped me to live my life better.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that I feel comfortable touching like vulnerable, uncomfortable topics, because like that. Oh my God. Like, I just keep thinking about the people who are experiencing these things who don't even want to go near them. And they're unhappy. They're uncomfortable, So
we actually, I didn't tell this to you because I forgot, mainly because I forgot. But we do have a surprise question that we like to end every single episode with.
I know I should have listened to this.
And it's basically the exact same question that we end all of the other conversations with from previous seasons. The only caveat is it's a slightly different age with a slightly different topic. So, Kylian, knowing what you know now, having lived the life that you have lived, if you could go back to your 21-year-old self and give him one single piece of advice about sex, what would it be?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, let's put some context into this real quick, shall we? 21-year-old Kylian. 21-year-old Kylian is, okay, so that was what, 2012. So he is a senior in college at a Christian college which would not allow for any sort of, well, they kind of did the caveat of like, well, we don't believe in any premarital intercourse, sex, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Which I will say, like, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was coming to terms with being a person of faith and being a gay person and trying to figure out all that crap, as well as going through the worst student teaching placement of all time. Yeah. And living alone outside Buffalo, student teaching. Worst 4 months of my life.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, that was, yeah. So what I would tell 21-year-old Kylian is that don't stress it. But also, like, it's not as serious as you think it is. Your sexuality, your everything is not as big a deal as you think it is. Even though right now it feels like it's everything. It won't be. In like 4 years, it's not going to matter. It really won't. And like, this was when I was still like closeted from pretty much everybody. Like close friends knew. And at that point, I think I was saying I was bisexual. And
which every other year you go back and forth on.
Not anymore. Shut up.
I feel like I go through seasons where I'm like, yeah, no, I'm bisexual. And then I'm like,
back in those days, I would say I was riding the Kinsey scale like it was the Metro.
There you go.
It would literally swing back and forth. It was really weird. But yeah, it's just like, don't sweat it, dude. Like, you'll come out when you're ready. Well, okay, that's not completely true. Grandma forced me out. It was great. But it's fine. It's a fun story. It's fine. I promise. It's all for the best. But you'll come out when you're ready, and you will find the right person at the right time. And sex is going to change for you so much over the next 13 years, 14 years. Yeah. So like, don't worry about it.
Would you say that 21-year-old Kylian was nervous about losing his faith in the mix of all that?
Yes. I think 21-year-old Kylian was more worried about losing his community that he had at the time than losing his faith. Because at that time, that's what his only community was, his faith community, really. And as we have learned, community is everything.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the title of our podcast.
Right?
Yeah.
Community is everything.
Community is everything.
It is indeed.
So.
I love that. I'm so glad you came on.
I am too. This was fun. This was great.
It wasn't the annoying newbies that you had to educate. It was actually a good time.
Yes. And it's actually worked out great because this is like, I'm on a season break in my podcast right now. And I'm kind of like figuring out what the next season's going to look like. So being able to like do this in between, it's just like, oh yeah, oh crap, I got to schedule a bunch of people. But oh yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the scheduling. It's like, okay, let's really go for it. And it's interesting because we're thinking through the idea of like, yeah, we want people who they're comfortable with having these kinds of conversations, and we're not pushing them outside of their comfort zone.
Right.
You know, and that we can learn from, and that, you know, really show a diversity of thought around the subject of sex. And so, and who knows, maybe this will go beyond season 7. So, you know, we'll just see. I mean, like, I already feel like this has been such a dope topic, you know. I love that we are friends and have known each other for years, and I'm always learning. That's one of my favorite things about
Learning about me or just learning in general?
Both.
Oh,
Like, I think learning in general is great. Like, I love being with friends who teach you things. Like, I
yeah.
love having friends who you can learn from. And like, I've never been the kind of person that says, like, back in the 1800s, like, I don't tend to know those kinds of like historical values, and you do, and lots of my friends do, and I love that. Like I'm definitely a history nerd, but I'm not good at pulling it out of my ass. So I really loved that part where you were like, this goes all the way back to the 13th century.
Yeah,
Listen,
now I wrote that down and I was like, oh, this is going to be a rabbit hole that I dive down in because this is incredible. Like, 13th century? Are you kidding me?
Ask me. I'll send you links. I got you.
Please do.
Because, well, I had to do it for my podcast. And then I actually had to do it again for the title competition because they expect you to know the history of it all.
Yeah.
So, like, I know a lot right now.
Honestly, like, the kink scene is full of so many fucking nerds. Like, it's crazy. Like so many brilliant nerds. There, you know, like, and that's who I surround myself with. So of course I have a lot of kinky friends. But Kylian, tell us the socials that we can follow you on, and like the podcast title again, and where to find you, and all of that stuff.
Well, yeah. Okay. So here goes the list. You can find me on every social as Rubber Pony Kylian. You can
How do you
also
spell Kylian?
Kylian, Kylian.
Awesome.
You can find the podcast Straight from the Horse's Mouth on anywhere you listen to podcasts, and it's also on YouTube. That all being said, I have recently purchased the domain name rubberpony.com. So this is all going to be I'm just like, is this available? Oh, it is available. Okay, I'm buying that. So I'm going to have a landing page here shortly. So you can just go to rubberpony.com and find everything. Because right now it's a link tree, and there are a lot of links on that link tree. So everything will be up on a website here shortly. Yeah.
Amazing.
So come find me.
That's great. Yeah, please, everyone, please, to your own comfort, please go and check out Kylian. And honestly, I think like Instagram's a good first start because you know, it's not diving fully in to certain things. And
the best way to divide it down is like Instagram is kind of, because Meta has such like
restrictions.
I'd say Instagram
guidelines.
is very much like it's much cleaner. Twitter is disgusting, and I only just like use it as like a broadcast because Twitter is awful, but I don't want to lose that channel basically. And then Blue Sky is where I connect with like people I actually know. Kind of thing. There's also a Just for Fans, but like you don't want to go there. I just think
everyone wants to go there.
Yeah, right.
Listen. My rule is if you want to see my penis, I think you should pay me $5. And I think I'm doing the market wrong. I think it should be if you don't want to see my penis, you should pay me $5.
No, that's better. I think that's a
much better business model. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God.
It exists. It has not been updated.
This is a crazy way to end this episode. This is a crazy way to end this episode. Okay. Yeah. Well,
I'm not sorry. I'm just glad I saved it to the end.
I'm just going to say we're going to end this, but then I'm going to ask you for something for just our Patreon supporters. Okay. And so we'll do that after we say goodbye.
Okay.
But I love you and I appreciate you and I'm so glad you exist in this world. So thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
I second that. The thanks for being here. I mean, I love you because you're a human and I'm glad that we finally got to know each other. But also thank you so very much for coming on and having this very wonderful conversation. Very much so enlightened me on a lot of things that I hadn't learned yet. And I know for a fact that I'm going to be diving down in some massive rabbit holes in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you're going to have fun with this. I'm always open. I'm always available to answer questions.
Fantastic. I will definitely be hitting you up then.
Excellent.
Amazing. Until next time.
This podcast is hosted by me, Kit Sargent, co-hosted and produced by Jess Grace Garcia of Springward Productions, and the theme music is by Brian Smith of Holy Holy Music Productions. If you could do us a huge favor and please like, follow, comment, share, do all of the things on all of the socials. You can follow the podcast on Instagram @_queer.consciousness for all the latest episodes as well as any other exciting news. When you're listening on Spotify, please leave a 5-star rating and use the comment box for anything you'd like us to talk about. When you're listening to Apple Podcasts, please leave a comment and a 5-star rating. If you'd like to be on the podcast, send a message to queerconsciousnesspod@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/queerconsciousnesspodcast. We are trying to grow as organically as possible, and this helps other like-minded people who want to empower and encourage others on their journey. So until next time, remember to stand in your truth and know that you are worthy, just as you are. Hey friend, just wanted to take a quick second to remind you that if you or someone you know is struggling and don't know where to turn, the trained volunteers at the LGBT National Hotline are here to help. Because sometimes the strongest thing to do is to ask for help. The National Hotline phone number is 888-843-4564. And if you want to check out the other things that they have available for them to help you with, you can check out the lgbthotline.org in order to be able to see all of the services that they offer in order to help our community.